Hello, and in this video we want to look at partial correlation. So let's start with an example. We'll be using the fear dataset from class, and to get started we'll test a hypothesis. There are two variables here. One is perceived likelihood of victimization, and the other is the number of behavioral cautions taken to not be a victim. We'll add in three control variables: age, general anxiety, and how much somebody worries about being a victim. So this is a key difference here. What someone thinks their chances are is a cognitive appraisal, whereas worry is an emotional response. So we kind of want to distinguish between cognition and thoughts and emotion. So to get started with the partial correlation, we'll go to the top of the menu bar and choose Analyze. We'll scroll down to Correlate, and when the pop-out menu to the right appears, we'll choose Partial. So now we have to find our variables. So let's discuss the independent and dependent variable first. What are your chances of being a victim is the perceived likelihood variable that we're concerned with, and that's the second one down, and we'll move that to variables. The behavioral precautions taken is a scalar variable, and we'll move that over to the variables box. So both of these are measured continuously or at a metric ordinal level that we treat as a continuous variable. Now the other three variables, age, general anxiety, and worry about crime, are our control variables. So we want to insert those in the controlling for box and not include them in the variables box. So I'm going to scroll back up and find each of these. Age is right here near the top. Then we scroll to find the general anxiety, which is how anxious are you about walking near your home. So then we'll move that over to the controlling for box, and then worry about crime. So this is another metric ordinal variable, and we'll move that to the controlling for. Also, we want to go and click the options button, and we want to check zero order correlations. This will give us the correlations among all 5 variables, in addition to the partial correlation that we're interested in seeing. Click Continue. Then, in this dialog box, click OK. So what we see here at the top portion is the correlation matrix for all of the variables, both the independent, the control variables, and the dependent variable. So what are your chances of being a victim of any type of crime next year? This is our independent variable, and we see that it correlates with behavioral cautions at a level of 1.37. It also correlates very minimally with the age and general anxiety, but does have a stronger correlation with worry about crime, which is expected. Someone's thoughts and emotions may line up and correlate to a high degree. So we want to keep our eye on this and just kind of remember this is in the back of our head. These two variables correlate pretty strongly. Behavioral precautions doesn't correlate strongly with any of the other variables. Age doesn't. General anxiety doesn't. And worry about crime really doesn't either. So our variable of interest, what are your chances of becoming a victim of any type of crime next year? 1.37. Then we go down to look at the partial correlation. What are your chances of being a victim of any type of crime next year? And its correlation with behavioral precautions is now reduced from 0.137, which was at the top at the bivariate level, but the partial correlation is 0.030. Also note that not only is the magnitude of the correlation reduced, even though the signs stayed the same, the probability levels have also changed. It was significant at the top, indicating that there was a relationship between the two, but after you control for these other 3 variables, the relationship is not significant. So in this instance, we look to see that is it significant any longer? The answer is no. The magnitude of the correlation changed and it was reduced, but the direction remained the same. They both remained positive. And so at first, what appeared to be a significant relationship, we know now not to be a significant relationship. So other things are better predictors of taking behavioral precautions to avoid being a victim of crime, and that this appraisal of someone's chances is not a significant predictor. So if we had made a hypothesis that said the more someone thinks their chances of being a victim in the next year increases their chances of taking behavioral precautions, we would now accept the null hypothesis. There is no relationship between these two variables, given the evidence we see from the partial correlation.